Hello amigos, ¿cómo están? My name is Dan and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all about Hugo Cambreros, the 18-year-old wonder kid that's been playing for Chivas over the last year or so. Has apparently renewed his contract. He's got a new 1 year plus 1 year contract until June 2027. And we're going to talk all about it because there's a lot to talk about with this. Obviously, Hugo is an important player for Chivas. One of the rising stars of the team. It was El Padilla, but now I think Cambreros is the one that I think everyone's really excited about. Comparable to Mora, amongst others. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. Obviously, we brought him in through the youth system, and gave him his first team debut last year, and he's been brilliant for us. There's been a bit of a transfer or a bit of a saga revolving his contract. There's obviously he's made it quite clear that he wants to go to Europe. He's seen Mateo Chavez go over there, and the good things that have happened to Chavez since he's gone. He hasn't actually played in Europe yet, but he's been technically a European-based player for a couple of months now. So, yeah, and obviously Hugo wants to go to Europe, and that's fair enough. Obviously he sees other players like Chiquete who've chosen to stay in Mexico instead of going to Europe. So, yeah, it's understandable. So there's a bit of a saga. People saying, "Oh, Chivas want to keep him. They don't want him to go to Europe." Blah blah blah. Yesterday, pretty much, he came out saying that Club Brugge had bid for him and Chivas had rejected it. There was a big hoo-ha about that because apparently, every time Chivas do anything, rival fans and media love to comment on it. Well, this is why. Because I told you in the last video that obviously. I think that we're going to renew his contract, we're going to put a European clause in there, and, we're going to make sure that we get the best deal possible and let him go to Europe. Apparently, according to multiple outlets, it's not been announced by the club, it's not official by the club, but it is official. Everyone's reporting it, it's done, it's sealed and sorted. Basically, I think it's a 10 million release clause, which is awesome, which is a big amount, if any Liga MX club want to buy him now, it has to cost at least 10 million, which is a big amount for an 18-year-old Mexican. Even in Mexico, it's a large amount, which is great because obviously that puts most of the Mexican clubs off. One or two clubs can still afford that, but still, 10 million, if we do lose him, $10 million for that is... For Cantarano is an amazing deal. Obviously, that's the last thing we want, but if it does happen, it kind of lessens the blow a little bit. But apparently European clubs can get him for 5 million. Apparently there's a European clause in there. European clubs are never ever going to buy any Mexican player, really, especially an 18-year-old for 10 million US dollars. It's pretty unrealistic. So they obviously put that in there so that the clubs can buy him for 5 million US dollars, which is really quite cheap, even for an 18-year-old. For any serious European club. Club Brugge, maybe it's a bit of a steep price for them, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what their financial system is like, but yeah, $5 million, apparently it's $5 million up front, and then I think it's either another 5 million later on down the line, or there's a sell-on clause. I'm not quite sure. Some people saying different things, but basically it's available for any European club now for 5 million US dollars, which is amazing because it's not that much money really, but it's a real statement of intent that Chivas is going okay. If any Liga MX team want him, it's $10 million. Which is a large amount of money, like I said. And if any European team comes in, 5 million USD is a good deal. So, this is a slap in the face to anyone that was complaining about Chivas yesterday, saying, oh, they're not going to let him go to Europe, blah, 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 blah. Well, we're not just going to give our players away. We are going to have to sell intelligently, sell smartly, because Chivas are always having to overpay for Mexican players. So it's about time that we start doing the same thing. And, Cambreros is going to be a star. I mean, touch wood, fitness levels and injuries pending, obviously. You never know what's going to happen, but his roof is massive. He did really well in the Toulon tournament. He was one of Mexico's best players. And, yeah, I think that he's going to have a top career. And I think, obviously, it's a sign of his ambition that at 18 years old, he's already thinking, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to Europe. He doesn't want to wait a couple of years. Most Mexicans, I think, would at 18 go, you know what, I'll chill at Chivas for a couple of years, wait till I'm 21, 22, like Mateo Chavez did, and then go, which would have been fair enough. But yeah, he wants to go to Europe now, which is fantastic for him and for Chivas as well. We're already reaping the rewards for Mateo Chavez going to Europe already. So, um, yeah, I think Cambreros' time at Chivas is limited now. He signed a first team. He's a first team contract. He's a first team player now, an established first team player in contract form. Before that, he was obviously still a youth system and youth team contract and things like that. So he's upgraded to a first team player now. So yeah, puts to bed any kind of criticism in Chivas. It really does show a real change, a real step in the right direction. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Mateo Chavez, he only went because he forced his way out." Blah blah blah. Well, no, Alkmaar still had to pay for him, and we've got a good release, a sell-on clause on him as well. There seems to be a real lesson that was learned for Chiquete. Um, and it's an acknowledgement that we're creating these really good players, several of them. There's going to be a conveyor belt now, I think, of these types of deals. But we really learned. We learned from being burnt so hard with Chiquete. We should have let Chiquete go. But again, we didn't want to be lowballed. We wanted to have a decent amount of money for him. He was our best centre back at the time. We had every right to demand as much as possible, not a ludicrous amount. But they seem to have learned from Chiquete. Mateo Chavez, I said Mateo Chavez is the first, first sign now that we've changed direction. We've changed the way that we do these things. Because now I think we've accepted that not only we're creating these really good players, but these players want to go to Europe, and we've got to make sure that we help them to do that, help them get a really good career, and we benefit from that by putting a sell-on clause. We get less money up front, obviously, but we get a decent amount of money next time. I mean, if Chavez goes over to Alkmaar, does really well, and gets a move to a top 5 team, top 6 team in the Liga or Serie A or Premier League, we're going to get even more money for Chavez in the sell-on clause than we did when we sold him to Alkmaar in the first place. So it's a little bit of a long game. But I think it's worthwhile. The same with Cambreros. I really do think European teams could still come in for Cambreros, even though he signed a contract. It's not like Premier League teams where you sign a new contract and that's it. It basically ends any hope of selling that player in that window. But it's not the same in Mexico. I learned that the hard way. You sign a contract and then in 2 weeks later you can get sold, which is fine. We've covered our bases now. We've done everything we can, not only to secure our financial future, but also to help him. And hopefully he's happy with that. Hopefully he's like, well, you know what, the club's done everything they can, really, to realistically let me go to Europe and not just taken for free. Obviously, it's only a year extension, so again, if he stays for the next 12 months, we could be in a similar position this time next year. But honestly, like I said, I think he goes this summer, and if not this summer, then January, especially if he has a good apertura, which all accounts suggest he could, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm really happy with this deal, to be honest with you. I don't want Hugo to leave. I want him to stay for at least one more tournament with GS and maybe win something with us. But like I said about Chavez, man, Chavez, the whole Chavez situation has been amazing since we sold him to Alkmaar. He's got his Mexico debut. He's probably almost Mexico's established left back for the next few years. And that's, us letting him go to Alkmaar was the spark in that. So if it happens again with Hugo, if we sell him to a decent European team and, that gets him on the, on the short list for the L Tree first 11, then fair enough. Or for L Tree's first team, shall I say, senior team, then fair enough. But yeah, so far so good. I'm really happy with this deal. Again, we're going to get a decent amount of money. Even the worst case scenario, another Cruz Azul comes in for $10 million. Like, yes, that will suck, but $10 million is amazing. So yeah, I think it's great for all concerned. And everyone's saying, oh, they should have let Bruce sell him, buy him, blah blah blah. Bruce probably came in with like a $2 million offer. I wouldn't be surprised if it was extremely low, because obviously there was a contract situation and Hugo looked like he was pushing away out of the club. Now it's like 5 million, and then a sell-on clause on top of that, and then it's all yours. And that's the best that's the best thing that any Mexican club's going to offer Cambreros at this time. So yeah, hopefully we'll never ever see a Chiquete situation ever again. Um, there's one thing that the club's doing right at the moment is, securing these young players. We've got a whole bunch, a whole bunch of these players. Hormigo, if he has a good tournament, could go. Teo Wilco, if he has a good tournament, can go. Padilla, I still think is a quality player. I think it's going to take him a little bit longer to go, but I think he will go eventually to Europe. A whole bunch. I mean, Talo Angel, maybe. If he has another good couple of years, maybe he gets to go to Europe. Um, and we've got younger players coming in and stuff like that. So at the moment, I'm really happy, to be honest with you. Let me know what you think about this deal. Obviously, it's not been confirmed by the club yet, so, we have to take that. But it's been widely reported by a whole load of big accounts on Twitter. It's pretty much done deal. It's been released, but it's just not been announced officially for the club. And also, don't forget, you've got Youth Player of the Tournament as well, which is amazing. And everyone's like, well, Mora should have got it. Well, Mora, yeah, okay, fair enough. But Cambreros, for me, is almost as good as Mora, almost as on par with talent-wise. Obviously, Mora's come in and almost established himself as a first-team L3 player. I think Cambreros is not that far behind him. And I think, we've got good two players there that are going to be brilliant for Mexico in the next few years. So, yeah, hopefully both of them go to Europe. Obviously, Mora's a couple of years younger. He's 16. I don't even think he can be sold. Actually, between now and last video, last Chivas video, I've realised that at 16 years old, he probably ain't going to be able to leave to go to Europe. I'm not quite sure. Let me know in the comments. I'm not quite sure what the rules are. I heard that he has to be 18 or 17 to be able to go abroad. Let me know. Apparently teams can still buy him, like City did with that other player that I can't remember his name, or Alcaraz, I think. But yeah, they signed him at 16, but he couldn't go join them until he's 18. So yeah, so let me know in the comments. I think Marcelo Flores was only an Arsenal player because he was born in England, if I'm not mistaken, or he had some kind of English passport or something, which meant that he was able to join an English club. Let me know in the comments. But I don't think Mora can actually go to Europe, but Cambreros can, and I think he will this summer. I'll be quite surprised if he stays at Chivas this summer, but I'll be happy as well. Even if he stays this summer, I think in January, if he has a good tournament, if he keeps going the way he goes and keeps fit, I think he'll go in January at least. So, especially with Chivas knowing that his contract's going to be up in next June. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about this deal. Let me know what you think about Cambreros and any other players that you think that Chivas has that could go to Europe. Let me know in the comments and we'll have a discussion on that. But yeah, this is cool. I mean, I love Hugo Cambreros. He's been a really good favourite player of mine over the last year or so since before he went to the first team. And it's going to be really cool to watch his progress. And I'm really happy he's signed. He could have stayed and forcing his way out. He could have left under a cloud like Chiquete did, but he hasn't. He's re-signed. He's done what he can. The club's done what they can, and everyone seems to have gotten a good deal out of this. So, yeah, in your face to anyone that was complaining about Chivas, anyone in your face to anyone that thinks that Chivas are holding any Mexican players back now. That ship has sailed. I mean, I know it's going to make you cry, but get used to seeing a lot more Chivas players in the L3 team, and get used to seeing Chivas start releasing these players to Europe on a more regular basis. I think Chivas have turned a corner, and we've kind of discovered that in the long term, these players can make Chivas money for a few years, which is great. Again, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 years before Chavez makes another move in Europe, and then we'll get the money. So it's going to be a long game, but like I said, I think that's what we're going to have to do now. And yeah, make it these, because obviously if we're actively selling players to Europe on a regular basis, then everyone in the Chivas squad right now is going to be happier, because they're like, well, if I really want to go to Europe and an offer comes in that's decent, I can go, because they're going to let me, because they've let all these other players go. It's kind of a knock-on effect. Obviously, Cambreros at some point was unhappy with the fact that he thought that he was not going to be able to get his move to Europe, and that kind of unhappiness affects the rest of the squad on some level, and you don't want that. So as long as everyone starts to realise that there is a pathway to a European team if I want it, if the opportunity arrives. That's all you can do, and then obviously it creates a happier locker room, creates a happier squad. The squad's going to play more, better for the team because they're happier, and it just has this whole load of secondary effects on the team and the club. So, yeah, I'm really happy about it. Like I said, I've said it loads of times, but yeah, let me know in the comments, and yeah, we'll talk about it soon because I think there's going to be a couple more stuff that happens. There's one more preseason game on Saturday or Sunday morning my time, and I think that's pretty much it. And then the league starts. Obviously, the game one's been cancelled, so we'll have game two. So we won't do anything. We'll have an extra week off, I guess. Um, but yeah, I'm really happy, and yeah, I'm quite buzzing. We've made some really good transfer moves. We've done this really great contract renewal with Hugo. We've sent out players on loan that I think needed first team action that probably wouldn't have got it in Chivas. And yeah, we're in a bit of a good roll at the moment, despite several pathetic attempts online to kind of bring Chivas down a little bit. This whole Cambreros Bruges thing was one of them. It seems to be a feel-good thing going on with Chivas right now. I think we're in even better position now than we were at the end of last season. And I'm just hoping that Melito can, deliver, and the team can deliver, and we can do something really special. But that's further on down the line. But yeah, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll come back to you as soon as anything else happens. And yeah, if not, I'll see you for technically game two, but I'll see you for the first game of the season. I think it's against Club Leon, so that'll be cool. So yeah, anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Adios.